test correctly. All right, so here we are in our comfortable cross-legged position. And let's settle into our practice this morning. The eyes can close if that feels comfortable for you. And we'll bring our awareness inward, noticing our posture here. The hands can rest comfortably in the lap, or maybe on the thighs. We'll draw length to the spine here and allow the shoulders to melt down the back. The chin is slightly downward, bringing length to the back of the neck. We might scan our bodies for just a moment, looking for any areas where we're holding tension. If you find areas with tension, we'll let that tension go. And then we'll bring our awareness to our breath. And to do so, you can do the breath of equal duration. Breathing exercise where we breathe in to the count of 5, and then we breathe out to the count of 5. So to start, I'll count up from 1 to 5. We'll let the breath go first, and then we'll breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll breathe out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll simply breathe in and let it go. And we'll do that again, breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll breathe out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll simply breathe in and we'll let it go. Just notice any sensations that you're feeling now as a result of that breathing exercise. Maybe you feel energized and ready to practice this morning. And then I invite you to set an intention for your practice this morning. You might even dedicate the merits of your practice to someone. Maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's a loved one. Or maybe it's someone who's in need, someone you don't even know. Whatever your intention is, you can bring it to mind now. And then we can slowly open the eyes. And we'll start out by placing the right hand to the outside of the right hip, and the left hand can float up towards the sky, and we'll take a gentle side bend towards the right. Maybe the eyes stay closed here as we're first getting started. And then we'll bring the left hand to the outside of the left hip. The right hand floats up towards the sky, and we'll take a gentle side bend in the other direction. And then we'll return to center and we'll walk the hands forward until we feel that nice stretch in the lower back. And then we'll stop right there and we'll let the head hang heavy. And then we'll return upright and we'll take the hands, the fingers are facing towards the hips, and we're opening the chest towards the sky or the ceiling. And then from here, we can come into our tabletop position. And we'll start out with some cats and some cows. So we're rounding the back, and then we're letting the belly fall towards the ground. Maybe the movements are small as we get started. Being gentle to our bodies, showing ourselves a little bit of compassion here. Maybe you synchronize these movements with the breath. Other movements we can take, we might peek over the right shoulder at the right hip. Might peek over the left shoulder, the left hip. Maybe we make some circles here with our hips, starting in a clockwise direction. And then we can go in the other direction. And then when we come back to that neutral position, we can tuck the toes and let the hips lift as we come into our first downward dog. Now make this downward dog your own downward dog. So you're taking movements that are beneficial for you, that feel good. Maybe you're pedaling out the feet or rising up onto the tiptoes. There can be a nice bend in the knee as we get started. Maybe you're shaking the head no, or nodding the head yes. And we're gonna walk our hands back to meet our feet at the back of the mat. A little different from what we usually do. And we'll come into our first forward fold. And of course, there can be a nice bend in our first forward fold here in the knees. And we can clasp onto the elbows for our ragdoll and let the head hang heavy. Maybe we sway from left to right here. And if it feels good, we can either clasp onto the elbows behind the back, or maybe the hands come together at the small of the back, and maybe the hands float away from the body, creating a nice stretch in the shoulders and in the upper back here. And then we can unclasp the hands with a nice bend in the knee. We'll slowly rise to standing, inhaling the hands overhead, exhaling the hands to heart center. And let's clasp the hands together and push the hands away from the chest. And we're taking our gaze down towards the floor here. And then with the head and the arms together, we'll rise back up. And we'll start with a side bend towards the right. Breathing in and breathing out. And then we'll return to center and we'll take a side bend to the other side. And then we'll return to center, and on the exhale, we'll forward fold. Inhaling to a halfway lift, exhaling back to a forward fold. And we'll take another sun salutation like that. So with a slight bend in the knees, we'll inhale the arms to rise. Exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale the arms to rise. Exhale into a forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale into a forward fold. I'll join you on the back of my mat here, and with a nice deep bend in the knees, we're going to walk the hands forward until we're in our high plank. And we're going to hold here in the high plank for 3 breaths. Drawing the belly in and up, feeling the strength of the legs and the arms as they support you. And then after that 3rd breath, we'll slowly lower all the way down to the mat. And we'll come up into our baby cobra. So the hands are directly underneath the shoulders. And we're lifting the chest just a bit till we feel that stretch. We'll lower back down, push back up, and come into our downward dog. We'll take a hip opener here. So we're going to inhale the right leg to lift and open the right hip into our 3-legged dog, maybe even stacking the hips And we'll make some small circles here with our right ankle. Right foot meets the left, and we'll simply do the same on the left-hand side. We'll turn the left foot to the mat, right leg lifts, and we'll come into our warrior one on the right-hand side. Moving into our warrior at a pace that's good for us as we get started this morning. Hands can be alongside the body as we settle into our warrior one. The right knee can stack above the right ankle. Feel the strength of that back leg. And then when we're ready, we'll inhale the arms overhead into our warrior one. Drawing the belly in and up. Making sure our shoulders aren't hunched up by our ears. Breathing in and breathing out. And then on the next exhale, the hands can come down to the mat. The right foot meets the left. We're in our high plank, and either we can do our chaturanga, or we can simply lift the hips to come back into our downward facing dog. This time the left foot lifts, and we take our warrior one on the left-hand side. We can start off again as we did before with our hands down towards the ground, alongside the body. Shifting, making small adjustments here until we've got it just right. And then we'll inhale the arms above the head. Breathing in and breathing out. And then again on the next exhale, hands return to the mat, left foot meets the right, and we find our downward facing dog. Let's come up onto our tippy toes in our downward dog, and let's send the heels off to the right, creating a nice stretch in the left side of the legs here. And then we'll come back to center, and this time we'll send the heels off to the left. Returning to center, the right leg lifts, and we'll find our low lunge on the right-hand side. So the back knee comes down, and in our low lunge, we're shifting our weight forward until we feel a stretch in the hip. And then we'll stop right there, and hands can either be alongside the body or on the thighs, or maybe the hands rise up towards the sky. Imagining that we're opening the chest towards the front of the room here. Then we're going to take an east-west twist. So the left hand will come in front of us, the right hand will come behind, and we'll feel that nice twist here. We're also feeling a line of energy from the tips of the fingers of the right hand all the way to the tips of the fingers of the left. We're going to challenge our balance just a bit more as we take a reverse here. So the left hand is floating up as the right hand is floating down. We'll come back to our east-west twist, and then we'll rotate the left hand down to the mat. The right hand is up towards the sky for our twist. The right hand comes down to frame that front foot, and we're going to shift our weight backwards until we find our half split here. Folding over the front leg, there can be a nice bend in the knee. And then we'll shift our weight into that front right foot, and we're going to shorten our stance just a bit for our pyramid pose here. And you can take some props if that's helpful, placing a block or something that you can place your hands on as you frame that front foot to make the posture a little bit more accessible, or there can be a bend in the knee, or both. And then we're going to rotate so that we're at the long edge of the mat, and we're taking a wide-legged forward fold here, hinging at the hip, going only as far as feels good for you. And we'll take a twist in our wide-legged forward fold. So the right hand comes underneath the head and the left hand can float up towards the ceiling. The left hand can return to the mat now, and we'll take a twist in the other direction. And now we'll spin over the back foot. The back knee comes down, and we're in our low lunge on the left-hand side. And once again, you can take whatever variation with your arms would make most sense for you. So the arms can either be up towards the ceiling, or they can rest on the thigh, or they can be down by the side. To help with balance, you might pick a spot a few feet in front of you on the floor, or you can draw length to the breath. And then we'll take our east-west twist on this side by bringing the right hand forward and the left hand back. We'll reverse for a breath. And then we spin the right hand down towards the mat as the left hand comes up towards the sky. Left hand comes down to the mat and we'll sink back to our halfway split on the left hand side now. Again, hinging at the hips, trying to maintain the integrity of the flat back here in our halfway split. And then we'll shift our weight into that front foot and step up our back foot, maybe shortening our stance here as we come into our pyramid pose. Once again, you can use props, placing your hand on blocks or something else. And then we're going to step the right foot up to meet the left at the front of the mat. And the knees will bend as the arms come up towards the sky into our chair pose. So we're sitting back onto our stool or our high chair. And then we'll bring the hands to the center of the chest and we'll take a twist towards the left. So we're hooking that right elbow to the outside of the left knee. And either we can stay right here or maybe the arms float apart. And then we'll come back to center and we'll simply take a twist in the other direction. And then we'll come back to center and come into our forward fold. And we can bring our feet so that they're match distance apart, and we'll sink down into our Malasana squat here. So we can use our elbows to gently press on the inside of the thighs or the knees, and the hands can come to the center chest here. And we'll just simply breathe. And then the hands can come down, knees come down so that they're match distance apart. And let's sink into our child's pose for just a few breaths. We'll push up into our tabletop and take just a few more cats and cows for just a couple more breaths. And then we'll find that neutral position and we'll take our tabletop twist. So the right hand floats up towards the sky and we thread it underneath the left arm. Maybe you bring your arm around the back, or it can stay right where it is in front of you on the mat. Come up to our tabletop and then we'll just take a twist in the other direction. So left hand comes up towards the sky and we'll thread it underneath the right arm. We'll come back up to our tabletop, and keeping the hips where they are stacked above the knees, we'll walk the hands forward to come into our inchworm. And then to come into our Sphinx pose, we're going to shift our weight forward and make any other minor adjustments to come into this posture. The fingers are pointing forward, the elbows are pulling back towards the body, and we're opening the chest towards the front of the room. It's an active posture here. Notice if the shoulders have connected with the ears. If they have, relax them back down. Drawing the belly in and up here. Breathing in and letting the breath go. And we'll bring one cheek down to the mat. The arms can be alongside the body. And then we'll take either another Sphinx, or we can push up into our Cobra position, which is gives us a slightly deeper stretch in the back here. Whichever one makes most sense for you right now. And then we'll lower down to the mat, and we're simply going to roll onto our back here. Can hug the knees into the chest, giving ourselves a nice back massage. Maybe the eyes closed. And then we'll hug the right knee into the chest as we let the left leg go long. And we'll send that right knee across the body as the right arm comes out, and our gaze can be over that right hand. We'll return back to center, and this time we'll hug the left knee into the chest, and we'll send the left knee across the body. Left arm comes out, and our gaze is over that left hand. And then we'll come back to center. Both knees can be bent here, and we'll take the left ankle and place it above the right knee. And then we'll take our hands and we're going to thread them through that space that we've created, clasp onto the back of the right thigh. Maybe we gently push the left thigh away with the left elbow as we pull that right thigh towards the body, feeling a stretch here in the hips maybe. Stopping when you feel that stretch and just taking it in. Maybe making some small movements here. Maybe rock from side to side. And then we'll return the right foot to the mat, and we'll just take our figure 4 on the other side. So now the left ankle crosses above, the right ankle crosses above the left knee, and we'll place our hands to the back of the left thigh, and we'll gently pull the thigh towards the body as we're pressing out with the right elbow on the inside of the right thigh. And then as a final posture before Shavasana, we can take the hands underneath the hips and let the feet float up towards the ceiling. And when you're ready, the legs can come long in front of you with the feet separated. The arms are alongside the body with the palms facing upward. And we can close our eyes for the next few moments as we take our Shavasana. Noticing any sensations you're experiencing here. Any benefits that you're feeling from this practice. Imagine that those benefits that you're feeling are circulating all throughout your body to every nook and cranny with each inhale and each exhale. You might start to invite some small movements back into your body as the breath deepens, wiggling your fingers and your toes, moving your head from side to side, keeping the eyes closed. We can roll onto one side here. Once again, keeping the eyes closed, we'll gently push up into our seated position. And you might bring to mind the intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. If there's someone that you want to dedicate your practice to today, you can do that now. And maybe you set the intention to carry the benefits of this practice over throughout the rest of the day and into the days ahead. With that intention in mind, we can slowly open our eyes and come back to the room where you're in. Thank you for joining me this morning. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but for those of you who hung in there, I'm glad we could practice together this morning. And I'll see you on Wednesday.